Ready, play.
Between Arthur Fils and Carlos Alcaraz. Now, you're talking about two of the best young players in the game, and obviously two players that have games that can translate to all surfaces. But we've seen Fils have success on the clay, and Carlos definitely, his best surface, I'd say. So let's start with Arthur Fils. What a great week he's having, and talk about a one-sided victory today against Andre Rublev. What did you make of that match today?
I think it's almost hard to know what to make of the match today because it was quite one-sided. I wasn't really expecting that at all. I thought Rublev was going to put up much more of a fight than he did. Um, but I mean, all credit to Arthur Fils. He's been having a really good weekend. Hasn't exactly had the easiest matches coming in, although in playing Greek Sport and Kabali, a couple of players who reached the finals of tournaments last week, maybe they're dealing with a little bit of fatigue. Um, but I mean, I think after he dropped the first set against Greek Sport and then has won six straight sets since then. And I don't even know if he's dropped more than four games in any one of those sets. So he's been playing solid. Clay is obviously a very good surface for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway here is now this is his third straight Masters 1000 quarterfinal, consecutive. So I mean, just talking about form, it's probably the highest consistency level, and that's kind of something that I've been on the lookout with him in terms of talking about such an aggressive player who has such big weapons. It's like how often, how consistent are you going to be using them? But I mean, today, like we said, I just think it's been one-sided. He returned so well, and even served so well. I think he won 80% of his first serve points. So it was just kind of, a tight knit, performance from start to finish. Didn't allow Rublev to get any rhythm. And, talking about just ferocious defense and ball striking, it was, quite impressive from him. Now let's move on to the Carlos Alcaraz match. And he played against Danny Altmaier today. What did you make of this match? Any surprises, or was this pretty straightforward in what you were thinking?
Maybe not surprised by the scoreline. Uh, Scoreline was pretty straightforward, 6-3, 6-1. I was pleasantly surprised, I think, by how well Altmaier played, especially in the first set. Like there were a lot of fun moments early on in this match, and even early on in the second set, it still looked like it was pretty tight, and then Carlos kind of just ran away with it. Um, but I think I got the match that I expected. Carlos, we know that he can be a little bit sporadic in his play at times. He looked very focused today. Didn't look like there was a much of a lapse in concentration at all at any point. He played well. So yeah, given all of that, I'm not shocked that he's moved on here. What do you pull from this match?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, the perfect type of matchup to gain rhythm and confidence, especially as we move to a different surface, and for Carlos just to get rhythm back because it's just been a little bit rocky on the hard court. But yeah, I think another big thing is just too many. Carlos, because he likes to have so much fun and he doesn't really hold such a consistent level. Um, that's going to be the talking point about his game probably for the next year or two, three even. But he faced 10 break points today, even against a Danny Altmaier, who's more of a baseline guru. He'll grind you down. He doesn't play with a lot of aggression. Rather, he's a big defender and takes his moments. But he did save nine of those 10. So that's a talking point. But then, yeah, as you said, I think it's just like fun to see Carlos kind of in his groove, in the rhythm, and displaying the shot making was on, full display. So as some of us in the comment are saying, he is such an entertainer, for better or for worse. That's a great way to put it. I always love watching him, and I think if anyone, if I were to try and get people into tennis, I would want them to watch, his matches, and I think Arthur Fils and Carlos Alcaraz will produce some fireworks. So Carson, what is your prediction on this match?
I think this might be the match I'm looking forward to the most out of all of these two young players who have been playing really well. I think on any given day, I will take Alcaraz to win this match. These two have not played each other before, so it is their first matchup. So hard to know if one of them is going to struggle with a particular shot against the other one and just reading it correctly as the ball is coming back at them. But I think I've been really excited with how Alcaraz is playing. This match against Altmaier was good, but then the last two sets against Sorrentino in his first match as well, very impressed with that. And so I think he's starting to come into a rhythm of how he wants to be playing tennis at this point of the season. So I think I'll lean Carlos in this one, but I could see this going 3 sets.
Yeah, I hear you there. I hear you there. I think it's interesting, as you mentioned, they have not played each other before. Two young guns who possess so much weaponry and such fun players to watch. I'm definitely going to be intrigued in terms of how Carlos starts this match, because I feel like it has been slow starting for him, and that's where he can get down, and then at that point he's maybe forced to reset. And even in that Cerundolo match where he had to save break points early in that second set to at least keep himself out in front, and job well done, and he accomplished that. It feels like he's starting to get rhythm, but you just think what could be if some of those break points don't go his way. um and talk about someone who's really good at creating neutral opportunities. And Carlos Alcaraz serve hasn't been firing like that. So I think Fils has the weaponry and ability to hang with him even on this surface that Carlos, makes other players look silly at times. So I think this should definitely be a battle. I do think though, just comfortability on the surface and firepower will make a difference. I feel like both these players love to get the crowd involved, so it's just going to be an awesome electric type of atmosphere, and I think that'll get Carlos even more into the match, and maybe a little bit more hungry, because sometimes, as you say, he doesn't like to win too easily. But with Bees being such a energetic and lively type of player on the other side of the net, I think that's going to only get Carlos more up for this match. So I'm super excited, and yeah, it should be some fireworks. Yeah, yeah. As Gene's saying, Fis return quality at one point was 9.8. So that's where it's um, as I said, just like continuing to get balls back and give himself chance in rallies. So
if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.